today we will be talking about vitamins and supplements. So pakilala lang po ako ng konti at bakit ito ang topic ko sa inyo kasi kakasabi lang kanina cancer specialist po ako, no? So ako po ay isang medical oncologist or cancer specialist, but the reason why I am going to talk to you about vitamins and supplements is because I have taken a special interest in this topic. Unfortunately, our patients with cancer are among the most targeted or most vulnerable patients, not just within the dietary supplements market, but also when it comes to complementary and alternative medicine or CAM, which is sad because we do lose quite a number of patients due to delayed or abandonment of conventional medical treatments in favor of unproven or unsafe treatments. And having a chronic debilitating disease, just like patients with cancer, people living with HIV have been shown to be similarly vulnerable to the dangers of complementary and alternative medicine. Thus, as healthcare professionals taking care of these vulnerable patients, it is important to educate ourselves in this area in order to be able to advise our patients better. For the most part, I will be taking a general approach with some information specific to HIV infection. These are our session's objectives, and our main goal is to provide information that can help you counsel your patients better when it comes to the use of dietary supplements. Detailed pharmacologic information and comprehensive nutritional recommendations are beyond the scope of the topic. Ayan. Globally, vitamins and other dietary supplements are more popular today than ever. Based on the results of a recent market survey conducted in 2020, 43% of Filipinos were taking dietary supplements, with 71% of these being regular users. The top reasons behind taking them were to boost the immune system, katulad po ng sagot nyo rin kanina, and also to slow down aging. Most respondents believe that dietary supplements actually work. Other reasons for using dietary supplements among Filipinos based on the results of the 7th NSHS survey included improved health, energy, and school or work performance. Interestingly, the third most common reason was a doctor's recommendation, which most likely pertains to doctor-prescribed vitamins and mineral supplements, as you will see in the next slide. There was a strong belief in the positive effect of dietary supplements on one's health status, with 48% perceiving themselves as slightly improved and 45% claiming to be very much improved after taking supplements. Vitamins and minerals were the most popular dietary supplements among Filipinos. And the right-hand column lists down the most popular plant or herbal preparations when the survey was conducted in 2008, but it has most probably already changed considering the continued proliferation of herbal supplements in the market. Unfortunately, I was unable to find more recent statistics on supplement use among the Filipino general population. Another local study showed that, unfortunately, most Filipino patients generally agreed with the perceived health benefits of herbal and dietary supplements, whether for disease prevention and treatment, slowing down disease progression, or providing symptomatic relief. So it becomes a problem when it already interferes with the conventional treatment of patients. Also, FDA approval was incorrectly associated with the presence of these perceived health benefits, and most patients believe that supplements have gone through extensive testing and evaluation to ensure their safety. Furthermore, only 24% correctly understood what the phrase "no approved therapeutic claims" means. Thus, there is an obvious need to improve our patient education efforts so that they may be protected from the adverse effects of dietary supplement misuse and abuse. Oops. Studies have shown that the use of dietary supplements is common among people living with HIV/AIDS, with as many as 50% using complementary and alternative medicine. The most common dietary supplements in PLHID are used to boost immune function, such as megadose vitamins and antioxidants, and to cleanse the body, such as teas and herbs to remove toxins. Unfortunately, it is common for patients to conceal their use of dietary supplements from their healthcare providers, which potentially increases the risks for adverse drug interactions and harmful interference with treatment plans. Furthermore, PLHIV who use dietary supplements are also vulnerable to misinformation and fraudulent claims about fake cures. There are many misconceptions about herbal and dietary supplements and the health benefits they offer. Now let us discuss some important myths regarding food supplements coupled with counteractive information that you can use when engaging with your patients in the clinics. So myth number one, more is always better. For a healthy adult, if dietary supplements are to be used, they should generally be taken at levels close to the recommended dietary allowance or RDA, taking into account age, sex, physiologic status such as pregnancy and concurrent disease states. High dose supplements should not be taken unless recommended under medical advice. Certain patterns of use tend to produce adverse effects and toxicities, and these include consuming supplements in large doses and or for a prolonged period of time, or using them for inappropriate indications. Generally, toxic levels of vitamins arise from high supplement intake and not from natural sources. Toxicities can also be caused by a heavy intake of highly fortified foods, but natural foods in modest levels rarely deliver excessive or dangerous levels of vitamins. An example of vitamin toxicity is hypervitaminosis, a condition of abnormally high storage levels of vitamins. So it is primarily caused by fat-soluble vitamins, especially vitamins A and D, which are stored in the liver and fatty tissues of the body for a longer duration than water-soluble vitamins. This table summarizes some of the clinical manifestations of different forms of vitamin toxicity. So remember, more is not always better. Minerals taken as supplements can also be toxic at high doses, especially when taken regularly. For instance, excessive magnesium or phosphorus supplementation can cause diarrhea, while too much iron can cause constipation. Listed here are several examples of mineral toxicities. Myth number two, if the label says natural, it must be safe. Unfortunately, the term natural is fairly meaningless in relation to the safety or effectiveness of a dietary supplement. Remember that anything that has the potential to be healing also has the potential to be harmful. And even though nutrients come from nature, they already become unnatural or synthetic when processed into various forms of supplements. According to a previous study, which reviewed surveillance data from 63 emergency departments in the US from 2004 to 2013, an estimated 23,000 emergency department visits annually were attributed to adverse events related to the use of dietary supplements. These most frequently involve cardiovascular symptoms from weight loss or energy products among young adults, followed by swallowing issues associated with micronutrients among older adults. Unsupervised ingestion by children was also found to be quite common. The most frequently implicated substances were herbal or complementary nutritional products, followed by micronutrients. Herbal and dietary supplements that possess pronounced pharmacologic effects or toxic components can be inherently poisonous. Toxic herbs frequently encountered in reports are those with stimulant, cardiac, autonomic, hepatotoxic, nephrotoxic, and abortifacient effects. This toxicity can be further complicated by the variation in content of the active ingredients found in these products. And even in finished products, there can also be large variations in content, leading to inconsistent and unreliable dosing. Incorrect processing and storage can also cause unexpected adverse events. Closely related to the previous myth is myth number three. Supplements always contain what their labels say. Dietary supplements should only contain dietary ingredients. However, according to the FDA, many supplements have been recalled because of false claims about the amount or even a complete absence or substitution of the advertised dietary ingredient, as well as the harmful effects of certain non-dietary ingredients discovered in these products, including heavy metal, chemical, and microbiological contaminants. When products claim to provide immediate symptomatic relief, we should watch out for possible intentional adulteration with conventional meds, most commonly with nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs or NSAIDs, steroids, antihistamines, and sexual enhancers such as sildenafil. Substitution and contamination with unwanted substances is another area of concern. Allergic reactions to herbal and dietary supplements also appear to be common, and patients may react to compounds inherent in the products or to other substances that were added into these products as adulterants or contaminants. Myth number four, supplements always do what they say they do. Remember that dietary supplements cannot lawfully claim to treat or prevent any disease. Not all marketing claims are backed by science, and testimonials which have been found to be effective in promoting supplement use among Filipinos still cannot amount to scientific evidence. There are three basic types of product claims that are allowed on dietary supplement labels. Nutrient content claims characterize the level of vitamins and minerals in the product, while structure function claims describe the basic benefits of the product on a particular structure or function of the body. On the other hand, authorized or qualified health claims describe the relationship between a substance and reduced risk of a disease or health-related condition based on scientific evidence, with a more rigorous, significant scientific agreement standard required for authorized health claims. Nutrient, structure, function, and qualified health claims must be accompanied by a statement on the label advising that the product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. On the other hand, any of the following representations or suggestions, whether directly or indirectly stated, are considered misleading, deceptive, and untruthful claims and are therefore prohibited. These include claims that a balanced diet of ordinary foods cannot supply an adequate amount of nutrients, that a synthetic vitamin in a food is superior to a natural vitamin, and that any given food will provide an adequate source of all essential nutrients. Myth number 5. Very important for our patients. Supplements don't interact with prescription and over-the-counter medications. Because food supplements do not need a prescription and many of them claim to be natural, there is a widespread misconception that they cannot interact with other medications. However, many supplements contain active ingredients that might increase or decrease the efficacy and/or toxicity of pharmaceutical drugs. Patients with chronic illnesses who are already on multiple medications are also more likely to use herbal and dietary supplements, putting them at risk of herb-drug interactions. Other high-risk patient subgroups include those who are at extremes of age, have impaired organ function, or are taking prescription drugs with a narrow therapeutic margin, such as warfarin. This table shows several possible mechanisms behind drug-herb interactions, such as changes in drug absorption or elimination, increased free drug levels from plasma protein binding displacement, and inhibition of the cytochrome P40 enzyme system in the liver. Pharmacodynamic interactions with synergistic, additive, or antagonistic effects can also be expected. In particular, dietary supplements containing magnesium, iron, calcium, St. John's wort, and ginkgo have been reported to cause the greatest number of interactions. Certain supplements can have significant interactions with antiretroviral therapy and should be avoided or used with caution. Supplements that should be used with caution include bitter orange, borage, garlic, ginkgo, grapefruit, and sweet orange. On the other hand, red yeast rice and St. John's wort are generally contraindicated. Some polyvalent minerals can reduce the absorption of certain antiretrovirals by chelation, and some are advised to be taken with meals or following specific time intervals if the mineral supplement is necessary, such as in patients with known deficiencies. A Cochrane review published in 2017 identified 11 supplements that may have clinically significant interactions with certain antiretrovirals, resulting in adverse effects or treatment failure. These include cat's claw, garlic, ginkgo, milk thistle, or more popularly known as silimarin, St. John's wort, evening primrose oil, vitamin C, calcium carbonate, ferrous fumarate, zinc sulfate, and multivitamins. Again, when co-administering antiretroviral therapy with vitamins and minerals in micronutrient deficient patients, timing is key. The University of Liverpool HIV eye chart is a useful database for checking HIV drug interactions, including dietary supplements, as you can see in the example here. It can be accessed at hiv-druginteractions.org or via its mobile app version, which is available both in Android and iOS. Myth number 6. Supplements always play well together. Because vitamins and minerals can interact at a chemical, biochemical, or physiological level, taking large doses of individual nutrients through dietary supplementation can impact how the body absorbs and utilizes other nutrients, which can lead to malabsorption and deficiency or even suboptimal health outcomes. Unexpected complications can also arise when herbs are used in combination, as various interactions can occur among the multiple active components of different herbal preparations. This table summarizes the synergistic and antagonistic interactions involving individual vitamins. For example, large doses of vitamin C may interfere with the absorption of and metabolism of vitamin B12, while the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K compete with each other for absorption and transport. And this table displays the same for individual minerals. For instance, calcium blocks the absorption of iron, while zinc blocks the absorption of copper. Myth number 7. Taking multivitamins can make up for a poor diet and prevent disease. The key to good nutrition is the proper balance and sufficient levels of important nutrients that are still best acquired from whole foods. This is because when eating real food, we are not just consuming single nutrients, but rather a whole range of vitamins, minerals, cofactors, and enzymes that allow their optimal use by the body. Without these additional compounds, synthetic nutrients are unlikely to be utilized by the body in the same way as their natural counterparts. Remember that dietary supplements are intended to supplement the diet and not to replace it. Whole foods offer 3 main benefits versus food supplements, which are greater nutrition, essential fiber, and protective substances such as antioxidants. The available scientific evidence shows that a beneficial effect on health, such as a lower risk of all-cause mortality, was only seen when the nutrients were directly obtained from real food and not from dietary supplements. In fact, clinical studies on the beneficial health effects of many synthetic nutrients have been inconsistent, weak, or have shown no effect. Myth number 8. Supplements are never necessary. Supplements may be beneficial for certain populations and to help manage various conditions, including those who are either nutrient deficient or at risk of nutrient deficiency or have medical conditions that may prevent them from being able to obtain the nutrients they need. Enumerated here are some of the approved clinical indications for nutrient supplementation. And when it comes to our HIV patients, some beneficial effects have been documented in patients with deficiencies, primarily in low-income countries with high HIV prevalence. Evidence favoring targeted micronutrient and antioxidant supplementation in improving survival and slowing disease progression is promising for children and pregnant women with HIV infection, people living with HIV with lower micronutrient levels or micronutrient deficiencies, and in those with advanced HIV and CD4 counts less than 200 on antiretroviral therapy. So we are not saying that we cannot give micronutrient supplementation, but there are specific patients, especially those who have deficiencies, to whom we can still give it with close monitoring. Myth number 9, supplements are tightly regulated. Drugs must be tested for safety and efficacy before they hit the market, and the product information has to reveal potentially harmful side effects. In contrast, food supplement companies do not have to prove efficacy or safety for human use, and there is little oversight of the manufacturing process. In other words, drugs are considered unsafe until proven safe in clinical trials, while food supplements are considered safe until proven unsafe. This slide shows the short list of requirements for securing a Certificate of Product Registration or CPR from our local FDA. Note that the efficacy and safety data requirements are not as stringent, as dietary supplements are only classified as food and are not tightly regulated like drugs. In fact, the safety data requirement included here can just be at least an LD50 or mean lethal dose determination from animal studies. Unfortunately, food supplement companies often use conclusions from animal studies to support their claims about the benefits and safety of their products in humans, which really cannot be directly extrapolated. Also, seeing a food supplement on the drugstore shelf or being sold online does not automatically mean that it has been duly approved by the FDA. In fact, the FDA website and social media channels frequently release multiple advisories regarding unregistered products. You can see here illegally marketed dietary supplements being flagged alongside polvoron and pastillas as if they were as innocuous as unregistered food items. So again, food supplements are classified under food. So that's the reason why the advisory looks like this. And last but most definitely not the least, myth number 10. Professional advice is not needed for over-the-counter supplements. But as healthcare professionals, we must routinely ask our patients about their use of herbal and dietary supplements because they often will not volunteer this to us. We should provide them with balanced, evidence-based information and advice, and we should reassure them that we understand their individual needs better and that supplementation should be tailored based on several factors, including their age, gender, medical history, lifestyle, and blood work, as well as their personal health goals. Now, what exactly does the available clinical evidence say about the use of herbal and dietary supplements? So we go general first. Do supplements protect against non-communicable diseases? Unfortunately, the clinical evidence to support their use for overall health or disease prevention in the general population remains limited. To date, most clinical trials have largely shown no definite benefit of dietary supplementation on the risk of major non-communicable diseases in people without clinical nutritional deficiencies. These results are in contrast with findings from observational studies where supplemental nutrient intake has been associated with a reduced risk of these diseases. Perhaps the apparent association seen in these studies may result from unknown or unmeasured confounding factors. Indeed, supplement use has been found to cluster with healthy lifestyle factors such as having a better overall diet quality, not being a smoker or heavy drinker, not being overweight or obese, and being physically active. This table summarizes some of the most important clinical data to date on synthetic micronutrient supplementation. It can be seen that the results have been mostly disappointing, with some even indicating possible harm, such as an increased lung cancer risk observed among heavy smokers and asbestos-exposed individuals receiving high-dose beta-carotene with or without vitamin A supplementation. Now, when it comes to our patients with HIV, there is little scientific evidence that any nutritional supplement improves immunity. So even though that is the most common reason behind their intake, when it comes to the scientific evidence, there is actually not much to support that notion. But some examples with limited research include acetyl L-carnitine, which may help ease HIV-associated neuropathy, whey protein and amino acids, such as L-glutamine, L-arginine, and hydroxymethylbutyrate, or HMB, which can help with the HIV wasting syndrome. You also have probiotics such as Saccharomyces boulardii and bovine colostrum, which may help with HIV-related diarrhea, and micronutrient supplementation, as mentioned earlier, which may be helpful in those with micronutrient deficiencies. Going back to this Cochrane review, its results have not revealed consistent clinically important benefits with routine multiple micronutrient supplementation in people living with HIV. Here you can see that providing a daily supplement that contains multiple vitamins and minerals may have little or no effect on reducing deaths in people living with HIV, whether they are taking antiretroviral drugs or not. So this is not significant. The same can be said regarding hospital admissions, which also shows no statistically significant benefit. Also, dietary supplements may have little or no effect on HIV disease progression as measured by CD4 count or HIV viral load. However, these findings should not be interpreted as a reason to deny micronutrient supplements for people with HIV where specific deficiencies are found or where the person's diet is insufficient to meet the recommended dietary allowance or RDA of vitamins and minerals. For example, supplementation with vitamin A, B, zinc, or selenium may improve the level of each vitamin in a person's blood, especially those with low baseline levels. Then this one, sakto para sa lecture natin. Here are the results of the MAINTAIN trial, just hot off the press last July 14, so it's very new. This study was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, multi-center clinical trial. People living with HIV were recruited from Canadian HIV Trials Network sites and followed quarterly for 2 years. Eligible participants were asymptomatic, ART-naive, HIV seropositive adults with a CD4 count between 375 to 750. Participants were randomly assigned to receive treatment or control supplements. The treatment arm was given high-dose vitamin B6, carotenoids, vitamin C, iron, selenium, zinc, acetyl L-carnitine, lipoic acid, and then acetylcysteine. In this comparison of a standard RDA dose multivitamin to a high-dose multivitamin with antioxidants, there was no observed significant change in HIV disease progression as measured by CD4 count decline below 350, start of antiretroviral therapy, emergence of documented AIDS-defining illness or death. So basically, no significant benefit seen for high-dose micronutrient or vitamin and mineral supplementation. So it really answers the question very well. So moving on to discussing some practical recommendations when engaging with patients in the clinics. Oops. This table summarizes the indications and contraindications for prescribing multivitamins with minerals, not to be confused with the indications for individual micronutrient supplementation for specific health conditions mentioned in the earlier slides. The next 3 slides show some reference values from the Philippine Dietary Reference Intakes PDRI 2018 version, which can be downloaded from the DOST FNRI's official website, fnri.dost.gov.ph. The components of the PDRI are the estimated average requirement, the adequate intake, the tolerable upper intake level or upper limit, and the recommended energy nutrient intake or RENI, which can be used when counseling patients. So again, this can be downloaded from the website for your reference. The World Health Organization advocates for adequate nutrition, which is best achieved through the consumption of a balanced, healthy diet regardless of HIV status. To ensure micronutrient intakes at RDA levels, HIV-infected adults and children are encouraged to consume healthy diets, and nevertheless, dietary intake of micronutrients at RDA levels may not be sufficient to correct nutritional deficiencies in HIV-infected individuals, in which case careful micronutrient supplementation is allowable. Improved attention to diet and nutrition may enhance ART acceptability, adherence, and effectiveness. Finally, how should we discuss herbal and dietary supplement use with our patients? Do not be intimidated because being an expert in nutrition or complementary and alternative medicine is by no means necessary in order to engage in a balanced, respectful, and helpful discussion about dietary supplement use with our patients. Even more important are effective communication skills such as listening, as well as showing respect and being non-judgmental. Converse with each patient, share your concerns, and ask for their opinions. We know that showing interest will go a long way towards reinforcing the doctor-patient relationship and shared decision-making. The following recommendations summarize how healthcare professionals could communicate more effectively with their patients regarding dietary supplement use. So step 1, inquire about supplement use and the reasons behind it. Remember that it is important for us to avoid displaying universal contempt for the use of supplements, as this can discourage patients from being truthful and open. Step 2, evaluate the supplement and have access to references that can help identify the composition of these products and describe any safety and efficacy issues. Step 3, discuss regulatory issues surrounding dietary supplements, some of which have already been discussed earlier. And then step 4 and 5, discuss the available safety and efficacy data and compare the risk-benefit ratio versus available conventional therapies based on the reviewed references. Make time to explain to patients that what we do in medicine is based on science and explain what a randomized controlled trial is all about. Discuss about the placebo effect and how testimonials cannot replace scientific evidence. And step 6, monitor for adverse events and therapeutic response if the patient ultimately decides to proceed with supplement use even after a thorough discussion. It is quite reasonable to get frustrated when we offer proven treatment options, yet the patient opts for something else. But as healthcare professionals, it is always helpful for us to try to understand the patient's way of thinking and how they develop these misunderstandings in the first place, and then maybe find some common ground to agree on. It feels more patient-centered if we are willing to collaborate and compromise. And who knows, they might even become more receptive and change their minds in the future. Ask, explain, respect, collaborate, and compromise. When doctors and patients work together as a team, health outcomes can be improved. Patients want honest but non-judgmental advice about their health choices. And lastly, I would like to share this quite comprehensive reference with you, which is not exclusive for oncology. This is the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center About Herbs database, my go-to scientific resource about herbs and dietary supplements. It has information tailored for both healthcare professionals and patients and caregivers, and it can be accessed for free through its iOS app or through the MSKCC's official website, mskcc.org. So it has lay information. So for your more techie patients, you can actually lead them to the website if they want to see credible information about herbs and dietary supplements. And thank you.